Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Repeat, Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, we will begin playing message now. Houston, we're going to try and translate that up here. Hold for translation. Translation complete. We'll begin playing message now.
Hey, it's me, Melissa.
What do you do when the aliens invade? Take a shot of MK Ultra and watch Melissa Jade. Put on your tinfoil hat and tune right in. We got their crime spree, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, a complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all been understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Aliens is on the sun or in Area 51. Time travels, unravels, haunted castles, cops are baffled, potential experimental thoughts that make you transcendental. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Crime sprees, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all been understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, Sonia. Welcome, Shay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Very well. I'm trying to figure out where my Nightbot's at because it just disappeared on me. But hello, everybody in the chat. Hi, Harlot people. May we see poor Linda. Welcome, Chezzy. Thank you so much for becoming a member. We have Lydia Jade, Angel D, King Scarlet News, Jenny B, Julie, Maria, Grateful Mama, Amanda, Grammy Nini. We have Kara, Truth Exposed, Hippie Chick, Katie Katz. Let me see. We have Metamom Christy. Anna Cassis. Hi, welcome, guys. Happy to be back for another Members Only Monday. And up now, there's my Nightbot, and it went 3 times. There we go. Thank you, Nightbot, for joining us this evening. We have a very special guest that we have not yet had on my channel, and that is Sonia D. Now, Sonia is, well, she was very established on TikTok, so you may know her. Hi, Booberry. You may know her if you are more of the TikTok platform. And then she is starting here over on YouTube. We have her link in the description if you are watching on replay. But if you are in the chat, Nightbot will be dropping Sonia's link throughout the live. So please take a moment, go over and subscribe. Sonia is someone who, in my opinion, has definitely done her coverage regarding the Idaho 4 case. And I am very excited to be able to talk to you and bounce theories and ideas and ask you questions regarding it. So thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Cece. Okay, so for starters, what are you gonna do on your YouTube channel?
Well, I've had my YouTube for quite a while, like a long time. I was doing like beauty videos and hauls and unboxings at one point, and then I changed my whole niche to true crime whenever I got into true crime on TikTok. So I changed my whole niche here, but so I'm going to be talking true crime. Right now I'm focused on the Idaho case since 2022 when the case happened, when the crime happened, and I haven't ventured into other cases too much. But Danilo Cavalcante, I was very invested in that one. And I was invested in the Gabby Petito and Chris Watts cases, but I wasn't documenting it at the time. But that's what I'm going to be doing on my channel, just doing true crime and maybe venture into my like whatever beauty stuff and whatever at the same time. Like I'll do a few things, but I think I'm going to keep it more to true crime, and my lives will be on true crime as well on this case.
That is so exciting, and I think we should do a see. I was about to say I would love to do a live just to pick your brain on the Watts. But yeah, sometimes we need a life raft to Watts Island. But so what initially drew your attention to the Idaho case? Were you following it in real time? When did you start to cover it?
Yeah. Well, basically, a friend of mine a longtime friend from here, we're in Canada, but she came to me and she's like, Sonia, I'm invested in this case. Did you hear about this case? It was like just like a week after the crime happened. So I'm like, no. And then I went and started researching, and I got totally like into it. And that was like a week after the crime happened.
And you had a lot of followers on TikTok.
Yeah, sadly. Yeah.
You grew
yes, I miss them all.
following. People really enjoyed your coverage.
Yeah. I enjoy it, but luckily I still have all those videos.
And I am so excited to be able to see all those videos on your channel. And because I was just telling Sonia backstage, we love going back and looking at everything because there's a lot of things that one, we don't remember, or two, it's like, whoa, because I remember we went through the press conference. It was like 6 months ago now, maybe. We went through the press conferences and there was a lot that was said that we didn't even realize that they said. But now back with the context and the information we have, we could kind of like pick up on things that we weren't able to see back then. So I'm so excited to watch all those videos.
Thank you. I put some on my YouTube already. Like I've been putting some on like since 2020. You know, like I have a whole bunch of videos on my channel, but I kept it to the not all of them. I didn't keep. There's so many. I have, like I just told you earlier, 2,242 Idaho videos, TikToks on my hard drive here. So, but yeah, I posted some pertinent ones on my YouTube already, but I'm gonna post like a whole bunch. And luckily, when you save them from YouTube, TikTok, they're already dated, so they're already in order, so I don't have to do.
And I'm sure a lot of those you have like right before they were allowing for longer videos, because they used to have a limited time.
Yes, but because I had a high following, I was always like allowed up to 30 minutes.
Oh,
wow,
yeah, but I'll generally do like the highest I'll do is like 10 minutes, honestly. Like you're allowed 30, but I was keeping it at 10. But now like if you're uploading a video, you can go up to 30, but like right now if I try to upload a video, I can only do up to 10 minutes. So I think that's the normal. And I think if you're uploading like a video, like I don't know, like a documentary or something, TikTok will allow you. Not a lot of people know that, but TikTok will allow you to go up to 30 minutes.
Wow.
But yeah, no, my videos are 10 minutes or less, most of them.
And yeah, poor Linda, for the most part, and I'm not, Shay is definitely more of the TikTok person versus me. Like whenever anything's TikTok related, she's the one filling me in. But from my perspective, I associate TikTok with being the more short, quick, to the point uploads. But there is live streaming functions on TikTok, just like YouTube has.
Yeah. I didn't go live a lot on TikTok, honestly.
Everyone's saying you could do ASMR with your voice.
Thanks.
But okay, so I just want to have a very general discussion and pick your brain regarding everything with the case.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm just going to come out and ask, and at any point you want to interrupt and ask, just interrupt me. But what was your theory and what is your current theory of what happened?
Well, okay, let's go with my vision, I guess. Well, I'm going to try not to think about what the media is covering, but at the same time, with what they've said and everything, with the whole stalking narrative, like I've come out on my YouTube and I've said it, like I only have 3 main theories, and the one is, yes, the stalker narrative. That one is a big one for me, only because whenever it came out that Brian was the alleged unaliver, I'm sorry, like, can we say that? Can we say the actual word here?
Yeah, you're fine.
TikTok lingo. Yeah, so whenever we found out that he was the killer or alleged, I went like as soon as I found out, I went to Instagram and everything, and I did find the one that they're saying was actually his. And I do believe it was, because there was a video posted in October 9th or 8th or something. And it's actually like there's only one video on it, and he's following family and everything. And he was following Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana. So at that point, I'm like, okay, he's already following them. There's a video posted in October. This is before the murders. So this has got to be his one and only real one, and all the rest are fakes. So that was my main motive. Like, he was infatuated. What I believe is that he's infatuated with Maddie. He was pissed off at Kaylee because Kaylee was always around Maddie and stuff. And that's why Kaylee got the brunt of it. And then whether or not there's like, I have other theories like the drugs and shit. Like there's one, like a little bit of that as well. So I have a couple theories, but that one's the main one.
Has your opinion changed over time, and are you leaning more towards one?
Yeah, I'm still on the stalker thing. I'm definitely still on that, based on the fact that even if they're saying he didn't stalk, I know they just had a hearing and everything, and they're like, that it was false, and Thompson. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, he's like, if you read between the lines, he could have been saying he didn't stalk one of the victims. Maybe he was stalking more than one.
Right.
We don't know.
They do like play with words, yeah.
Yes. So just like Anne, right? And I think they have to do that. But generally, I think the whole, and this is going from my old TikToks, I always felt that he knew Maddie. Like, he didn't know her personally, but he saw her at Mad Greek with Xana. And so those were his targets, I think.
Yeah, but going back to the Mad Greek.
Yeah. I don't know about Jackie Fisher, if she was lying or not when she said that Brian was never there.
I had Mad Greek in mind too originally, and it still kind of sits there.
Yeah. Like for me, like the whole stalker thing would start there. Like, for whatever reason, he got to Moscow. Shopping is better in Moscow. He went to Moscow, and then and he found Maddie's profile or whatever, and he saw her at Mad Greek. I think that's where he first saw her. And then he followed her on, and then he started liking all her posts because he was liking, the one with Meet the Roommates and all that. And which was on August 16th, I think. Anyway, so and then I think that's what happened. He just started liking all her posts, and that's how they met, or that's how he laid eyes on her and got infatuated and maybe got jealous over Kaylee. That's what I've always felt from the beginning. And because they said Kaylee's injuries were worse than Maddie's. So I just think it's because he was pissed off.
Okay, because with information that we've learned more recently with the differences in the injuries, we heard Kaylee's parents explain that Kaylee was trapped, as they put it, that she was found in the corner of the bed with Maddie on the outside of the bed, and there's the wall up against, and she was sitting up, slumped down. And
as per Christy,
do you think that the injuries would be different, not so much because it was targeted versus it would have been most likely Maddie attacked first. Kaylee would have awoken and there would have been some type of struggle, hence why she was found in the position she was.
Yeah. So with that, see, Kaylee, yeah, with how she was found and everything, with the whole Kaylee, my visions and visions. Okay, I'm very intuitive, but anyways, my visions were always that, or my theory, I guess, also, but my vision was that Kaylee was in her own room with Murphy, and then
Sorry.
and then she,
Another one.
what?
You're
What happened?
there's a lot of you who, and along with Shay, who's been saying from the beginning she thinks that Kaylee originally was sleeping in her own room.
Yeah, yeah. And I have a TikTok posted about how her bedroom, the bed was still there and looks like the bed sheets were just moved over, like as if something woke her up or something. And then she got startled and got up. And then she heard commotion. She closed the door, left Murphy in there, and she went and ran to Maddie to be with her because something was going down. Like, I don't know. See, we still don't really know the order of the killings. We don't know if he
Sure.
did like downstairs, second floor, or upstairs. We don't know yet.
Thank you,
So
Cece. Just keep up the amazing content, my beautiful friend. Thank you so much, Cece. Poor Linda
but
says, Sonia, what do you make of Kaylee's dad saying that he didn't have to go upstairs?
well, that's where the drug theories come.
Another theory. Okay.
Well, I only have two, or three, because there's another one with Brent involved. But anyways, but the other one, if it has anything to do with like what Steve said about he didn't have to go upstairs, well then everything he needed could have been right downstairs on the second floor. He didn't have to go upstairs. So then that would mean like Ethan or Xana were the targets because of the whole Kara thing and the stepmom, Maddie's stepmom and her dad. And anyways, there's a lot of drugs in the families as well. I think the Chapins and the Gonzalez's are the only ones that have never been to jail for like drugs.
Yeah, but I
Possession.
don't hold the family and because the truth is that if you look into really any one person and start looking into their family and any charges that they may have had, the likelihood that anyone's gonna have a clean slate is minimal,
Right.
so I don't, unless you could show me anything with the victims themselves having connect, and I don't, I'm not
No, I don't think so.
sitting
But
here,
I mean, see, that's
there's no drugs ever in the college.
yeah,
Of course there would. Do I think it played a role in the murder? Not so much. But what's it called? Ah, crap! I just had. What was I thinking? Hold on, let me go back up. Oh, he didn't go upstairs. I just take that as if it wasn't targeted to one of two of those girls upstairs, and if it was just the house, if it was just about a kill, why did he go upstairs? That's how I interpreted what Steve said.
I can
Not
see
even
that.
so much Xana or Ethan being the target versus he did not have to go upstairs. And the third floor was the only floor that did not have direct access to outside. The first floor did. The second floor did. It's also ground level. The third floor did not. There is an extreme risk the killer took by going up on that third floor. So there had to be a reason. He didn't have to. He chose to go up there. That is how I interpreted it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I mean, I'm probably very wrong with the whole drug thing. But that was just like one thing back.
Right.
It's not my main theory by any means. The stalking is my main motive, narrative, like whatever.
Right.
But like I did fall down those rabbit holes at one point with the whole drugs and the whole like the families and everything. And I mean, the coincidence, I even put out TikToks like right at the beginning. I'm like, it's a coincidence that like Kara got like, arrested, like whatever, on the November 19th, so I was thinking it for a while because of that. I'm like, is it related?
Did she get arrested because she had a warrant? Like, that's kind of what I would
Possession,
thought.
yeah, or I don't remember the exact thing. I can probably find it at somewhere, but
Yeah.
yeah, she got arrested for that, for possession.
Wow.
Okay. I keep forgetting what I was every time. Oh, okay. Then I do not think they were sleeping in separate rooms. The blankets being pulled down does not immediately stand out to me as she was originally in there. She was staying there and visiting back there. That is definitely, in my opinion, a factor of why she would want to be with Maddie even more. But she could have pulled down the blankets in preparation for bed. I don't know what the normal routine was for Murphy to sleep, but them drinking, them getting carbonara, going back, the multiple calls to Jack between both their phones. I could see those girls laying in bed together doing the call. Well, you try to call them. All right, I'll try. And then just passing out. But if you think that they slept in separate beds, and I ask this to everyone who thinks this, how do you think Kaylee would have ended up in that back corner of the bed? That room is so tight. And if she would have got up, closed her door behind her, walked in, how would she have ended up where she ended up?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that wouldn't make sense for that, if she was sleeping in her own room, would be if she like went in there. Well, she was probably like, I don't know, but she could have been like, this is just my opinion here, I guess. But I mean, if that's the case, she could have gone into the room and like laid with Maddie, like huddled with her, and she could have just been up against the wall at that point. And then he came in, and then did what he did. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was thinking that, but then at the same time, they were eating together. They ate their carbonara, so they could have been in bed as well. So, I've always been like I see all sides. So yeah, it's very possible that they were just in bed together and eating their carbonara, fell asleep. But I don't know. They weren't sleeping all that long, because they were calling Jack. So.
And thank you, Abellis. Abellis gifted a membership. Thank you so much, and congratulations to the recipient. Go ahead, Shay.
I was gonna say that my only thing like I could kind of come up with when Melissa asked me that was, what if Kaylee walked in on the attack and tried to help save her?
Right. I thought of that too, because didn't Christy say that Kaylee put up a struggle of some sort? She did mention that on one of her interviews.
Yeah.
And that's how the sheath might have fallen off or came undone or something. Because she did, Christy did say that. It
scares me to think about that. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not even going to go into, there's a long time ago, I had a vision of what happened to Kaylee, and I started crying and stuff. And I'm not even going to mention any of what I saw, but yeah, no. I can't even imagine. And how Christy explained how she was kind of explains how I visioned, but I'm not going into that at all.
Well, in the PCA, we hear how Dylan allegedly heard there's someone here.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think said that?
I think it would have been Kaylee.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
See, originally I thought Xana, even though Dylan thought it to be Kaylee. But with the more recent information, with, like I said, about finding out that she was in that corner, slumped over, I think the thumping may have been her hitting up against the wall, trying to like kind of escape out, because she would have been very trapped.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Between Maddie and her. And now that I know that she was most likely awake, right? She was awake, and there was a period of consciousness there, she very well may have called out that there's someone here, right? Your brain doesn't process everything, especially drinking, being woken out of a sleep. I make a joke all the time. Sometimes I'll wake up out of a deep sleep and I'm like, what year is it? Like, where am I? Like, I have no idea what's going on. So saying there's someone here may make sense if you're just being startled and all of a sudden you don't know who it is, and she probably didn't even register what was happening to Maddie, and so her go-to may have just been there's someone here.
Yeah.
What about I'm here to help you?
Yeah. When it comes down to the person saying, I'm here to help you, there's so many things that come to mind. Like, is it the DoorDash driver? Is it somebody else? It's not the DoorDash driver, I don't think. But who the hell? It was been Deanna Liver, but why? Like, why would he say that? Like, why would he say that? Like, what a psycho.
I could see it because I think his target was upstairs. I do not think the plan was to kill all four. So I could see if Xana, because I'm still stuck on my original theory of Xana and the killer crossed paths at some point of when the killer was coming back down. And at that point, I don't know if Xana was going into the kitchen, maybe to throw out her door. I don't know, but there was a crossing of the paths. And as she was running back, I could see the killer maybe saying, just if it was impulsive and it wasn't a planned thing, right? Oh, it's okay. Something like those, like, I'm here to help. I'm here to, because again, with adrenaline rushing, it doesn't have to really make sense because things may be just set on the spot. When I think about how I have a very impulsive reaction, sometimes I think, what the hell did I do that for? Or why did I say that? Maybe he was just startled to even cross paths with someone, and his initial response was to say, it's okay, I'm here to help you.
Yeah. That makes no sense. Like, none of that makes sense. Like, who would do that? And I don't know.
At times I've kind of thought maybe it was Ethan, and I also thought the thud was Ethan.
Well, I don't see it being any of the other people that live there, but it's just some weird. Well, Brian's weird. When you see his interactions and stuff, I don't know. I don't have a good vibe from that guy at all.
Do
Never
you
have.
think, as with the evidence we know so far, are you leaning towards Brian being guilty?
Yeah. I'm unbiased. I still think, there's a possibility it wasn't him, but why would he still be there? I just don't, there's something in me that's not like grasping that. So it's like, okay, well, why would you waive your right to a speedy trial? Why would you do all of that and stand silence and like everything that you've done? There's a possibility, I'm still like, okay, there's a possibility. But if there is somebody else that actually did this and they're out there, like, you would think Ellie would mention this. Like, guys, just, I don't think we have the right guy. We would have heard something by now. It just makes no sense for a killer to be still out there if Brian's not the one. I don't know. I don't get the whole thing, but it's like, it just makes no sense to me. So that's why I'm more leaning towards that he is the one that did it.
I have to ask.
What?
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Jesse, I agree with you. The whole thing screams Ted Bundy. Like, he looks just like him too.
Oh, hey, Jesse.
Fellas. What are your thoughts regarding the alibi?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Oh my gosh.
I
The
have
moon
it.
and the stars.
Yep.
Oh my God. I mean, he could have had a burner phone. Like, why is everybody so gung-ho that his phone, yes, it turned off. Yes, he turned it off, his main phone.
It disconnected from the network.
Right. Like, yeah, or airplane mode, or turned it off, basically, right? And so he could have had a burner phone. Yes, he was looking at pictures and he could have said, oh, I was looking at the stars and everything, but he could have had a burner phone doing whatever else. Like, but we don't know. Didn't they mention that there was 2 numbers for Brian, and they actually found him at the end because of the traffic stop or something? I don't know. I heard that there was 2 phone numbers for Brian. I don't know who told me that, but somebody told me that.
Did you hear that recently?
Yeah.
That I think you're referring to I told you that on that report
Oh, it was you.
there
Yes.
were 2 numbers on it, so I wasn't sure. I was trying to, because I, like you, had I have screenshots of that original Brian account. That account that, at least in the 2020 interview and the Discovery, whatever it was, in real time, I have the screenshots, and he's following family members, other
Yes.
coworkers following him back. But I was trying to compare the followers I have in my screenshots to what I saw on the report, and I found a couple of overlap, but not all. But the problem with the report, I noticed, is that there is no you can't make anything out of it without context, and nowhere on it have I been able to find a username handle, like for like which account it is. Not saying it's
Right.
not that account. I just can't, hey, this is the same account I have screenshots of, because it doesn't have a handle and it has 2 phone numbers. I don't think you could have 2 phone numbers associated with one Instagram account, but it has all different things intertwined. But so no,
Right.
it wasn't anything 2 phone numbers regarding actually Brian. I just mentioned that there's 2 phone
Okay.
numbers on
Sorry
that
then. Okay.
report.
I miss.
No,
Okay.
you're fine. Sometimes
But
there's so much information.
But didn't, sorry, what
Go ahead.
was there something about like how maybe did he just get that phone in June or something? Because then I could see, what if they had to look up 2 different phone numbers associated with an account, like if you change numbers?
Well,
I
it's
don't think
seemed like
he
it's a
can.
report that pulled everything associated with it. Well, that's maybe Shay, but that's the hard part, that it doesn't have context with it. The report is there with 0 context, and it seems like it's actually multiple accounts that it's being pulled for. It's very strange. Sorry.
Yeah, it is definitely strange. And I mean, the whole alibi. Yeah, I mean, he was a night owl because even his neighbor downstairs mentioned he was always up at night. He was definitely a night owl. He would go running and stuff. Like, I believe all of that. I don't believe that that's what he was doing the night of. Like, I don't believe that at all.
Now, what if they can prove, which this Silas guy, apparently can, that his phone was at that location that they say it's at, very close to the time of the murders, but it's not moving? How would you feel about that?
Well, that's where my whole 2 phones would come in. Like, he could have left his main phone there and just had like some stupid burner phone of whatever that went undetected,
Mhm.
So that's the only thing that would make sense for that. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But the Psy guy, I don't know that he's reliable though,
Right.
either. So
I hadn't really considered the burner phone theory, so that's interesting.
well, I
think
just
that's a point.
thought of that whenever the alibi came out. I never thought of that before. But
Mm.
whenever the alibi came out, I'm like, but what if he had like, yeah, he left his phone at some area and just left it there, and it's possible.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible. But I mean, he's a criminology I can't say the word, but he's a student. And like he wasn't dumb. He definitely wasn't dumb. He was the one in class, like I heard, like that I saw on multiple things, that he was like always asking the questions. He was always talking, like always like educating himself in class and stuff, and whatever. So he wasn't dumb. He's definitely a smart individual, so I'm sure he planned, like, if it was him, come on, I'm like really talking biased here, but I'm like, it's possible it wasn't him. But whoever it was smart enough to, cover their tracks with like no
It
DNA
was
even coming out of the house.
it was a lot of fog the night of November 13th in the early morning hours. And I'll pull it up for you guys.
Yeah.
But we already know his phone disconnected from the network during that period of time.
Mhm.
So I don't know how I'd feel if they could even prove that the phone is in one place, but then disconnects from the network and then reappears on the network. I want to know where it was at the time that the crime was being committed.
Of
That's
course.
what I want to know.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd be satisfied even if you start to pull out the maps and, okay, would he be able to get from this point to this point in this period of time? I don't like it. I want to know where was his car.
Yeah.
I think one of the things like we haven't really talked about in a while that I'm really interested in wanting to know is what was on camera at the Albertsons. Like, what was he wearing? If they're saying allegedly he was on camera there, and what did he buy?
Yeah. I'm dying to know what he bought at Albertsons. Oh my God.
Yeah,
And he went into plus, apparently. So.
I could be telling too.
Oh yeah, and it's on video. They're just obviously not releasing that to us, but it's definitely on video. I'm dying to know that. There's so much I want to know every detail of this case, to be honest with you, but that's just a weirdo of me. But
Okay. See, early morning hours from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. on the 13th in Moscow, Idaho. Ice fog. And, people have, gone back and forth with me about this, hey, Anyanka, regarding, well, no, they didn't say that he was, looking at the nighttime sky that particular night. They just said that he has a history of doing this, going for nighttime drives, running, looking at the stars, but they never said specifically this night that's what he was doing. I think it's word games. I don't think that this more recent document giving a bit more to the alibi, it was any bombshell at all. We obviously know defense has to keep putting out more and more details to make this alibi work, but this alibi is insufficient. You are supposed to be providing a witness, something, footage, anything that is able to verify or testify that you were at a different time and or place to where you could not have committed the murders. So what they're giving is baloney, and it's not even Oscar Mayer. It's off-brand shit, in my opinion.
yeah, I don't believe the alibi at all. I laughed so hard when it came out.
Right. And exactly, Bushi. So, okay, even if you want me to believe that, he was here at this time, why did his car return back? Why did his phone return back the morning after? And I like pulling out all sides. Some people will say, well, maybe, if you're going with the Kim theory, or at least a little bit of that nugget of people knew earlier in the morning, could Brian have gotten wind of it to where he went back? I think that's a far stretch, though. I think that's a very, very far stretch.
No, I think honestly it had something to do with me. Well, I originally thought it was because of the sheath, like he realized he left it there, but I think I'm mostly thinking that he went there just to see if there was any cops or anything.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't think there was because there was kids there and stuff. I don't believe honestly, a lot of what Kim said, I don't believe. The only thing she ever said that kind of planted a seed was with the whole Emma and Demetrius thing. But other than that, no, but I don't believe anything else that she said.
Thank you so much, Riddler. Riddler gifted a membership. Congratulations. And hi, Musicity Mom, Twizzle Stick. Hello, everybody who had come in. Again, this is Sonia D. She has an amazing channel. It's in the description, and it's also being dropped throughout the chat from Nightbot. And she will be going live hopefully within a week for the first time. And I'm very, very excited. But thank you. Wolfie wants you to acknowledge her, Sonia.
I will. Yeah. Well, I was waiting for us to.
Thank you, Wolfie.
I didn't want to cut us off.
He's like,
"Hi, Wolfie. I saw you. You're beautiful too."
I don't know. I just really struggle with the Silas guy too. Like, there is a history of a judge saying he is not credible. He's not credible. Now, does that mean that, he's not telling the truth. No, but anybody, I like Michelle always says, like, if you pay me the right price, I'll be your expert witness and I'll say anything. And,
Of
like,
course.
listen, we have seen 100% guilty people in court have expert witnesses who are advocating for it. Like, it's people are willing to do it. But I struggle so much with this alibi, and I think it's baloney. And okay, show me he has a consistent normal routine of going for nighttime drives, that this was not abnormal. No problem. Show me it was not abnormal to disconnect from the network conveniently at the time of the murders.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no freaking reason for him to turn off his phone or whatever, unless you're so obvious, dude. Sorry.
Now, I loved, because it was you who posted it to your community tabs, like that first night, the 2 reviews of that, the why, whatever it's called, and how no service, no cell phone service. And I thought that was interesting, but they'll be able to determine if this was manually disconnected from the network or he lost service.
Yeah, they'll know that. They'll absolutely know that. It won't take them long to figure that out if it was because there was no network.
Mhm.
I don't think he was there at all. No. And yeah, there's no cell phone towers. There's no cell phone service at all over there.
Now, mentioning like the Kim stuff, are you aware of like what her narrative has kind of been from the beginning and what she's claimed? What are your thoughts regarding it?
A bunch of BS, a bunch of bullshit.
You don't believe that there's any truth to it?
No, I honestly never have believed Kim. Except like the only thing, like I said, the only thing that planted kind of like a seed, and it wasn't the fact like, I don't know that she actually mentioned Emma and Demetrius, but Dave also mentioned Emma and Demetrius, saying that they were the suppliers in town. And
that could be true. That could be true, and it have nothing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the whole Emma and Demetrius, like, I mean, I have a whole video on them, and it's just weird. It's just weird. I don't understand the whole. Maybe you can explain this to me. What is with the whole without prejudice thing? Like, because this latest hearing, Judge, he mentioned, and I'm going off your question, but I'll go back to it. But Judge mentioned, like, we have to do this because of or there could be prejudicial stuff, like, I need to understand that more, because I'm not very big and like I'm not very smart with all the terms. So if you know what the hell that means, I would love to be educated, because I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, because Emma and Demetrius both got released May 25th, 2023 for without prejudice. And they were on for like selling Caden Young some sketchy stuff. You know what I mean? How the hell did they get off so easy? I don't get it. Anyways, so maybe that whole thing just weirded me out. And when Judge said that, it kind of brought me back to their case. And I was like, wait, this is so weird. But I don't believe, besides that, I don't believe a word that Kim said. Her whole story of like, teacher parents, and she went to a game with her kids or something like that. The whole thing, I don't believe none of what she said. No.
What about friends
having the Snapchats
some level
and stuff?
of anything about, there was word going around that something happened at the King Road house prior to 911 being called, because we do know friends were summoned, so we know that there was some type of communication prior to 911. But do you think it could have possibly gotten out a bit? Not like a game of telephone, not exactly what was going on, but something had gone on, even maybe a death.
I believe something happened. Like, what did Dylan and Bethany do for those 8 hours? Like, we'll always wonder what the hell happened in those 8 hours. I know, like, I know, I don't know, but I'm just assuming that that's what they would have done. They would have called a bunch of their friends or a friend, and that friend would have, and it would have snowballed from there. And then it would have just, but no, I don't think it went to the extent that she went into it. Like 6 people were outside. She was very detailed. Like there was like 6 people outside. Da, 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 da. Mm-mm. One was a creeper and everything like that. Like who's a creeper?
Yeah.
Like who was a creeper? But yeah, no, I do believe that they did message some friends, but whether or not they all showed up at the house, like I know Hunter found Ethan supposedly in Xana, and he's the one that placed a call to 911, but I don't know how many else were there. Like, what do you think? Do you think there was a lot or at all?
I think that there could be a very small nugget of truth underneath what Kimball weeded out into.
Yeah.
Because she Kimball-weeded that out.
I know.
And
I was gonna mention that. I love your little meme.
yeah, so I think that there is a chance, based on the things that we have also learned since then, with Kaylee's parents first finding out from Chrissy and Christy. I know it's Christy, by the way, for anybody watching on the replay, because someone was correcting me in the chat. It's just the way I say it. I know her name is Christy, not Chrissy, but the way I pronounce it fast and it comes out sounding like Chrissy. So I know her name's Christy. But Christy came out in the beginning and she said that originally she first found out from getting a call from her niece who said,
Yep.
"Have you spoke to Kaylee? I heard that she's been shot. There was this party." And then the second narrative was
Yes.
overdose. And then
Yes.
is when they had found out more towards 5 p.m. That it was not any of those things and it was a homicide. And
Yes.
I think that makes sense with the friends being summoned. I would love to know the phone messages, like what messages were going out on these Dylan's phone, Bethany's phone, and
I'd love
who
to
were they
know.
going out to? And
Yeah.
with the friends being summoned, we know there was communication. And so where was that? Where was the summoning? Is it a physical summoning? Is it in a Snapchat group? Is it in a text message? Is it a phone call? But the likelihood that with these sororities and fraternities that it may have gotten out that something was going on at King Road, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, police are there, that with word of mouth in the game of telephone, people may have automatically speculated overdose, or I heard this. And that I may be able to believe. So where it's like, oh, well, we knew prior, we knew at, I don't know what time. See, I struggle with the time. If it's like a little bit before 911 being called, okay, I can't get down really with like 4 hours or 3 hours before 911 is being called. But I can see that, because when you think of, oh, college students died, you don't automatically assume homicide. You would think an overdose or something like that. But
Right.
I don't know. It's hard to determine, since she said everything else is like a load of shit. She said it's hard to be like, believe even if the tiniest bit. But Shay doesn't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shay, really anything with what she said is legit. I think there might be a little nugget that maybe her daughter may have shared. Yeah, well, we knew about, like we knew at this time. And it was like, what do you mean you knew? And then she became obsessive about it and turned it into what it turned into. Yet that's not what really she was relayed. Because if you think the defense does not know about this, they absolutely do. They are looking for exonerating evidence. And if there was any validity, they would have been snatched up, summoned, and they would be testified at the grand jury.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think, okay, so I have 2 things to say, and I'm going to go on the first one and answer you. I don't think it would be uncommon for people to know about Demetrius and Emma. Like anytime somebody would pop up as getting arrested or maybe around that age, people were like looking into that in that area. So Dave, Kim, or whoever, yeah, they they could have figured that out. I think that's kind of common, like, to know. It's not like a big secret.
Mhm.
But on the Kim thing, I don't believe anything she says because I believe what she knew is what started in Facebook, and it was absolutely nothing. And until the Kopaka incident, that's when her fear kicked in my opinion, based on reading how those messages developed.
Shay did an amazing job at going back, Sonia, and finding all like where Kim originated before YouTube on Facebook and in finding all of her
Oh,
Facebook.
wow.
She did a really great job.
Awesome. Yay. So
And
she's
it was like
definitely a
the
fake.
evolution of Kim. No, but it was a really important thing, honestly, because she was able to show us how this was her original comments. Nothing about knowing any inside information, advocating for Dylan and Bethany, saying zero involvement in drugs. And then all of a sudden, there was a huge shift. And then it turned into my daughter knew. And then it turned into, yes, Emma and Demetrius. And then turned into drugs. Then it turned into Dylan and Bethany. Everything it turned into.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I found out from from Kim about Emma and Demetrius, because I think Truth and Transparency at one point she posted a video on something like along those lines where the body cam footage, because she was pretty good at putting out those body cam footages whenever the cops would go over, and there was one of Emma, right, with her DUI, like, and then it started the whole snowball too, because like, well, why is this being put out there? Like, there's got to be a reason why this is being put out there of Emma. So that kind of triggered me a little bit. And then Kim did mention that, but then that kind of like put like, oh, well, maybe it is. So that's the only thing she said that kind of like made me like think, oh, okay, maybe there's some accuracy here somewhere. But like, of course, it's just a theory. So it's just a weird one because we haven't heard anything of Emma and Demetrius since they were released last year in May at all. So I just wondering where they are. That's what I want to know. I want to know where they are.
Yeah, but do you blame them for not
No.
being able to look at what is going on?
Yeah,
here?
no, for sure.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
And that's, I think the problem is that people aren't just, I don't know, like it's speculating can be very dangerous, like, and it's okay to speculate. We all speculate, but like people straight up accuse them. They straight up accuse them, and that could be very, very dangerous. So I don't blame them, because even if they came out and said anything, people aren't going to believe them. People are just going to rip to shreds what they said.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think they were involved in anything, but I just think that there was something like, if we're going with the whole, well, I don't even want to go to the drug theory, because really the stalker narrative is really what I really believe what happened. So, but the drug theory, yeah, no, I don't think that's what it was, but I do believe, yes, all kids do drugs and all that, like they were in university. They were experimenting, they were doing what they do. So it's a given there's just going to be some freaking drugs around. But yeah, Kim, no.
So you go for like the incel stalking, like you think he became obsessed with Maddie?
Yeah, I've always and I've never shied away from thinking that Brian was an incel. And I also believe that Brian's Papa Roger. But
you do?
Yeah.
But that account became active after and stuff.
I think that's a copycat, or maybe Brian gave account. Well, it's possible, but then again, maybe Brian gave access to gave somebody access to it to continue on. Like maybe Brian has a weird friend out there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe not. But I mean, I know that what you're saying, it got reactivated, whatever the case is. But I think, but the newer one also said something about her. Like the newer one was like a female of some sort. I saw somewhere on there, like, and I think I have a TikTok on it, about how the new account said something along the lines that it was a girl. There's something pointing to her. There was like the word "her" in the profile somewhere, where it was like, oh, that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
So it's possible it's just like, it's possible that it's the same account, but somebody else has access to it.
I don't think that, because people aren't trustworthy. So, and this is, I kind of got into this, if another person was involved too, the likelihood that a killer is going to trust anybody else to have access to their, like, let's say that was Brian's account. Brian is the killer. Why would he ever trust someone else with that knowledge? Because that will bury him. You know, like, you now have everything on me. The same way, if someone else was involved, you're trusting that, hey, if one of us gets caught and the other doesn't, you're not going to drag me down with you. There isn't
Yeah.
that trust
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah. I don't
exist.
think he would do that either. But how, I don't know why that account was reactivated or anything like that. But I do all, like, the whole Elliot Roger, the whole incel thing, that was like a narrative of mine. And well, a lot of people thought that too, but I always thought that stalker incel narrative was the one that it was. And I mean, we haven't found out any different yet. We do know that he doesn't like women, based on all the students he used to grade and everything like that. So there's a lot of, he doesn't like women at all. He doesn't like them at all, from based on all of that. So, and that's like from people that went to school with him in those documentaries too, like, 48 Hours, and what's the other one? 2020, and all of that. They talked about that.
What do you think of the DoorDash driver?
I don't know. He wasn't cleared, so I have no idea. I don't know. I don't even know who the DoorDash, nobody knows who the DoorDash driver is. All I know is that the DoorDash driver was not cleared. Yeah, I don't know. I have no theory on that. I originally thought, well, because a couple of creators out there said that Emma was the DoorDash driver. So again, I went into the Emma route. But no, we don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I have no I don't have any opinion on the DoorDash driver. I don't think it is. And I thought at one point it was Brian, but I don't think it's Brian at all.
No, I don't think
Mhm.
so. But
No.
what are your thoughts regarding how it perfectly overlaps with the window that
That's weird.
Brian allegedly made entry, and the fact that we do not know who the DoorDash driver is? I know Shay and myself think that there's a good chance that is the secret witness.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. When you say that, the secret
Informant?
witness, yes, absolutely. He was
Yeah.
not cleared. No. The DoorDash driver never was cleared. So
Well,
that
nobody was technically cleared. They did the rumor mill on the Moscow website in real time, and they do not believe, hoodie guy, this person has any involvement, but nobody was really technically cleared that I could recall.
no, the DoorDash driver, a lot of people are saying that the DoorDash driver was cleared. He was not cleared. There's no mention of him on that rumor report at all. So
Well,
you're right.
technically, we
He
didn't
could
know
be
about the
secret cleared.
DoorDash driver and the DoorDash delivery until the PCA.
PCA, and they stopped doing the rumor mill.
They didn't, well, they mentioned him, but they didn't actually say that. I'm gonna get my affidavit. They didn't mention that he was actually cleared in there. They said from hearing from the DoorDash
No, I
driver
know,
or
but
something.
like what Shay is saying is the rumor mill that would, say we don't believe that these people have any involvement. The DoorDash driver wasn't even mentioned until the PCA came out, so
Right.
it couldn't have included it.
Yeah, so like Moscow's like website, they had their rumor mill control section.
Yeah. Mhm,
And so that's kind of where I was coming from. But I do think it may be the informant, and that helped put together the timeline along with what we
I
had
agree.
been told, the roommates talking.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You guys make all the sense in the world on that. Absolutely. That's very much like, there's no way that they didn't cross paths or the DoorDash driver didn't see. There's no way. Like
It's
the
hard to
time is
think
the
they
same.
didn't.
Like if
Yeah.
No. Absolutely. I agree with you guys. It's very possible. And I thought about this a long time ago that it could be that. Like who else could it be? But that makes all the sense. So you just confirmed that what
Hey,
I thought a long time
Jules.
ago.
Yeah, I think the likelihood that the DoorDash driver is actually very significant in this, and it was Jules who came on, was it like last week,
Hi, Jules.
and she made a good point because she says the likelihood that one or the other didn't see each other. She's like, in the daytime, I could believe that you may not have gotten drawn attention to another vehicle that would have been passing by the same area. But at nighttime in pitch dark, she's like, the likelihood that the DoorDash driver wouldn't have seen another vehicle's headlights, because you see another car coming
Mhm.
from a far away in the pitch dark. And
Yeah.
like at least be able to say, hey, yeah, no, I saw, maybe not the details of the car, but I did see another car actively driving on this road around this time. That was a great point because I didn't even really think about it like that. Like, yeah, it's kind of hard not to see another car driving around because the lights in the pitch dark brings attention to it.
Yeah. And it's so dark over there. There's no lights.
Yeah. I didn't realize how dark it does get over there.
I wouldn't want to be there in the dark. Like, no wonder everybody's walking around with flashlights. Scary.
And the fact that we still never heard a name, never had any information leaked regarding it, it would make sense if they were like an informant or a witness, an amazing witness. But then it makes me so, like, again, I struggle so much with the time frame. I struggle so damn much with this time frame, and everything just seems to overlap and happen with such a short window of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I've even gone as far as thinking that what if the perpetrator set up the DoorDash delivery and could arrive on time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My thoughts go wild on this one. The timing is impeccable.
Same. Yeah. Like I even thought maybe he placed the actual order, or and he pretended to be the DoorDash driver. Like I even thought that. Like I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I did think a lot about the DoorDash driver at one point, and I just kind of like tucked it in the back of my head,
But me and Shay went down. Could he have sent the delivery? Oh my god, we went hard during the DoorDash times. But could he have ordered the delivery? Because it was like Xana received a DoorDash. Didn't say she placed the DoorDash. Doesn't mean she didn't, but it doesn't mean she did either. That's that tricky wording where they're leaving it could go both ways. So did she actually get the DoorDash? Did she receive it? I don't know. And so I would love to know if the DoorDash made its way inside. Was it a hand-to-hand contact? Was it a contactless delivery? I need to know these things.
Right. And I'd like to know too, did the camera at 1112 or the one across the street capture the DoorDash driver? You would think. You would absolutely think. And
I
one
think
of those,
so.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's why, like, you see suspect vehicle 1. I think the vehicles were labeled, and that ties in with the investigation.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something. But yes, you guys are probably like dead on with the whole DoorDash driver being the informant. Absolutely. Like that makes the most sense. And as to why we've never heard anything, they're probably under like some protection stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess whenever Steve tried to talk to,
crazy.
Sorry,
the fact that the name never slipped, never nothing.
Right. Like nothing. And then and then remember when the Howard Blum article came out where supposedly Steve said that he got in shit for trying to talk to a witness, it could have been that. It could have been the DoorDash driver as well. I thought of that as well at that time. Like, that makes sense. If Steve was trying to get all his info.
I'm trying to find the directions. What is the place called again? Why? How did
The what? Sorry?
The YY Park or
Why-
why?
The Wayway Park. Yeah.
why like WAI?
WAWAWAY. AI. Sorry. AI at the end.
WAI.
Colton, Washington?
Mm,
No.
No.
it's not
State
far from there.
Park.
Is it okay? So is it a
Northwest Y Road, Pullman, Washington. Why am I not finding?
It's near the Snake River.
Yes, it's near the Snake River, and he went there. What was that little place called? Something, Kate something. I don't remember the name, but there was like a place. Maybe Jules will remember, or you guys. But he went somewhere, and his phone turned off again for a couple of hours. When he was near Snake River that day.
Yes. I have always had questions about kind of the vicinity, like, and when they were what they provided that we saw of the CAS system, where they
Mm-hmm.
oh my god.
Papa
just
Joe,
something
thank you,
just came to
Angel.
mind.
Yes. Thank you. That's the one.
So it is Washington. It shows Washington.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because Pullman, Washington. Yeah.
Okay. 3501.
Yeah. Thanks, Jules. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What if they were using the CAS system to track his movements and try to find the weapon, and they haven't turned it over yet because they're still trying to find the weapon?
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're there, Melissa. That's right. I know, right? I don't know with the whole weapon. Like I always thought that he put it at Snake River whenever he went to Papa Joe.
Welcome. Oh, for fuck's sake, with Viviana.
Oh, for fuck's sake, she says it. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Welcome.
I love
Thank you
it.
for becoming a member. To say that it's not possible for him to come here, first of all, driving in the middle of the night with no let me be clear. The time it takes me to get from here to, let's say, the mall is completely different than the time it would take me at 2 a.m. to get to the mall. And I'm talking about double the amount of time it would take me during normal hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To say that it is not possible for his phone to ever ping here and to be at the house to commit the murders is silly, because we do not know what time his phone was allegedly there.
Yeah.
Because if you're booking it, let's say 30, it says 40 minutes, 41 minutes. Let's say you could get there in 30 minutes. Okay, so oh, for fuck's sake says that road to Wawa in the fog at night is not something you could speed on. And I'll take your word on that, because
she's from there. Viviana's from Washington. Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar. I'll take your word on that.
Yeah.
But it's still totally possible. We need details. Without context, kind of similar to that report, we cannot do anything with it.
Right.
So let me pull up what we know, what they're saying so far.
Mm-hmm. And also Viviana's from there, so she knows, but it kind of confirms the road is foggy, and then you check the weather that day and it was foggy. It kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah,
it was total fog. But again, they say, like, well, we never, it never actually says he was looking at the nighttime sky that night. And I'm like,
no,
all right,
no, just a bit. Yeah.
Okay, so what it says, Mr. Koberger moved to Pullman. As an avid runner and hiker, he explored many areas of, and I don't know how to pronounce that. How do you pronounce?
Palaus.
Thank you, Palaus. Of note, he explored Wawa Park in July of 2022 and this became a favorite location. So what I'm assuming is we are going to see consistently Brian's phone traveling to Wawa Park on more than one occasion. After the school year began, Mr. Koberger was busy with classes and work at Washington State University, and his running and hiking decreased but did not stop. Instead, his nighttime drives increased. This is supported by data from Mr. Koberger's phone showing him in the countryside late at night and or in the early morning on several occasions. The phone data includes numerous photographs taken on several different late evenings and early mornings, including in November, depicting the night sky. So he has at least one photo on his phone in November. That also does not say, was it before the murders or after the murders?
Right.
I don't give a shit if it was November 30th. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Koberger was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, as he often did, to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. So that leaves it very open that he wasn't doing any of those one things or any of them, but this is what he would do in the past. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, Idaho, including Wawa Park. So he drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, including Wawa. Okay. Mr. Koberger intends to offer testimony of Cy Ray, CSLI expert, to show that Brian Koberger's mobile device was south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho on November 13th. When? That Brian Koberger's mobile device did not travel east of the Moscow-Pullman highway in the early morning hours of November 13th, and thus could not be the vehicle captured on video. Additional information as to Mr. Koberger's whereabouts as the early morning hours progressed, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray, will be provided once the state provides discovery requested and now subject to an upcoming motion to compel. If not disclosed, Mr. Ray's testimony will also reveal that critical exculpatory evidence further corroborating Mr. Koberger's alibi was either not preserved or has been withheld. Now, that does not give us many details at all.
None. And the fact that they say and/or, like that makes me think like it's a crock of shit right there. And/or, come on, you have to give facts.
And/or meaning it doesn't exist, so we get to say what happened to it. You just didn't preserve it, or you didn't give it to us, or it just leaves the door open for a lie. Good night, Angel. Welcome, Fruity Pebbles. Thank you so much for becoming a member.
Good night, Angel.
There's no details of the time.
No, nothing. And/or.
Yeah, the and/or. But okay, so south of, what was it? Hold on.
Yes, that makes sense. Southwest, yeah, that makes sense.
South of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho. Yeah. Okay.
But Johnson is down there too, right? You see the Johnson, and on the affidavit, it shows his route home going through Johnson. Like, so
I'm just not sold. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not sold
either. I did not look at this and I was not, wow, he really maybe didn't do it. No, I mean, I'm open. I'm not, I have not sealed the deal yet. A trial did not happen. But I am not, this is not anything, because, okay, we know the phone disconnects from the network. So you're not going to be able to show me anything, as far as I know. You're not going to be able to show me anything for the time that I need to know. That's a problem.
Yeah. Like, it's a dead giveaway almost.
What's happening in chat?
I don't know.
Be classy, not trashy. Listen to the mods. I have no idea what's going on because I was busy mapping. But
I don't see anything bad going on.
don't be a douche, whatever's going on. And please stay, Angel. I don't know what the prosecution has. And that's what I think, oh, for fuck's sake, with Viviana. I agree completely. And Viviana says she's trying to craft the alibi around what the prosecution has, and that shouldn't be allowed.
Mhm.
The fact that it doesn't meet the requirements at all for an alibi demand is frustrating me. It's supposed to be, if it's an alibi, if you're providing an alibi, you have to be able to give me a witness that puts you in a different place at the time, or foot anything. They're not meeting that demand.
Well, my question would be, okay, so would she say that he took the same route as it's listed, but didn't go to that house? Because I would expect, like, say you can't have a person as an alibi, you thought he went somewhere else. And I know that this is like more rural, but if you're going through like certain maybe cities and towns, and say he said he went through, excuse me, what's this town, like Johnson or whatever this town is right here? Like, wouldn't they
Johnson.
ask to pull the stoplight like cameras there? Like, I mean, that's just kind of like an additional thing. Like, if they'd want that under their belt, that would help them too. I don't know why. That's just something that came to mind. Like, it sounds like everything is saying that he followed this trajectory without knowing if they have other evidence that shows him on other traffic cameras not in that city.
Right.
You know?
Well, and Jules, I totally hear what you're saying, because Jules is saying my dad would not be able to find a human alibi on any given night. He's a lone wolf. Totally understand. Then you don't go for the alibi, right? Like, you put in for an alibi and you had to meet that deadline, yet you're not meeting it. So don't go for the alibi defense if you don't have an alibi. That's what's weird to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, I struggle with this too. With the day and age that we are at, you're telling me he's traveled all this way to why? He's traveled here, he's traveled there, and there ain't nowhere that got you on camera, that has you, sorry, not got you, has you on camera close enough, and it may not be exactly at the time that the murders were committed, but somewhat to where, no, you cannot make that drive from where we last seen his car on footage to when the murders are occurring. He would not be able to travel that difference. Nothing. And does his car come with the GPS mapping? Do we know that?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope that he has that, because then they'll be able to track him exactly. Like, yeah. I don't know that his car 2016. I don't know that they have them. But I did see a video that it's possible. But I don't know. I would love to know, though, if anybody can tell
Al
us.
says no GPS.
Yeah, you would think that there would be like, but it's pretty rural area out there. Like I don't know. Viviana might be able to tell us if there's like traffic cameras on the majority of them, because she's in Washington, so she can probably tell us.
Everyone's saying no, and I didn't think it did, but I don't remember, because I remember that there were certain Hyundais like that did at that year and certain that didn't.
Okay. So that sucks if he didn't. All right.
Pink Scarlet says, is it possible Anne is talking about it at 2:45 before heading there, and the expert will just argue the cell towers? Yeah, like maybe they're like, again, they are so careful with their word choices, where everything Anne just stated can be true, but when you're not given the times, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, because what if everything stated in there is true, but for much earlier on? Then they can't tell you what happened when the phone disconnects. They could just tell you where he pops back up when it turns on. And I'm very curious to know, when it's no longer disconnected and it does connect from the network, is he still at YYYY, or is he somewhere else? Is he en route somewhere?
Yeah. I would love
Right.
to know that.
Ooh, I'm just so there's so many. And who said they changed the timeline? Who changed the timeline?
I don't know. Are they talking about how at first they said it was between 3 and 4, and then it was from 4 to 5? Is that what they're talking about, or
I'm not
something
sure. I haven't found the comment.
defense team?
Oh my God. It's not, again, if they could prove consistently that he took nighttime drives, it's not so bizarre, you know, like, but disconnecting from the network, bizarre. Returning to the house the next morning, bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay, see, I don't take it like that. That's not changing the time frame. That is just expanding. It's still the original time frame is within that window. They're just expanding in the to like make it, I don't know. Like they expand it to leave room for it being between that. Does that make sense? So what if it happened at 4:20 on the dot? I don't know. Like they just made it bigger.
Yeah. Anyways, the alibi is a crock of shit. It's not. But like he has 50, they have 51 terabits of like evidence and stuff and data. What? It's all like sky and stars pictures or
Well,
what?
a lot of it will be irrelevant, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of it will be hours and hours and hours of footage of this and that. Nothing exactly relevant to it, but you have to include it for full context purposes. But that's an overwhelming amount.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for the response. Okay. Okay, here it is. How if it's changed, then changing would imply it's not the original, right? So you're saying because it's expanded 10 more minutes? When you say change to me, that would mean it's like Sonia said in the beginning, it's 3 to 4, then 4 to 5. That's change.
Yeah.
So here, let me pull up what you're referring to.
And they did originally change that. Originally they said 3 to 4, and then they changed it to 4 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So this is the notice of defendant's response to state's alibi demand.
So do y'all think that like they kept holding off on getting this updated alibi because they were waiting on those cast reports? Because that's the only thing I can come up with, because we got it, the last one back in July of 2023. Sorry, I was reading as y'all were talking.
Yeah, no
and kind
problem.
of going back over this. I was listening, but I mean, that's just kind of something I found interesting, was like the alibi didn't change and it still didn't fully fulfill, I don't want to say legal like requirement, but the state satisfaction of that alibi, of like what a true alibi is. So yeah, obviously we said they're gonna be using the state's evidence for like to be able to plant reasonable doubt. But I'm just kind of like going over this in my head, like, why wait so long? And what were you expecting like to get out of those cast reports? You know, that's become so contentious along with having Ray.
Right.
It's just not mapping me.
It's not. This whole cast report is so weird.
And it puts him back right in the area where the PCA is saying that like he was at. without including it being the home in Moscow.
Anybody know what document it's in?
Which document are you looking for?
This is this.
Which one are you looking for?
State's alibi. The state's response to the alibi.
The one to say that they changed it to 4:30?
Yeah, because I want to get the exact wording, so I'm not we could see exactly what it says. So hold on.
Right. See, I missed that. I didn't see that anywhere, but
Okay.
I'd like to see it too. Cast issues.
Okay, here we go. God, there's so many on Brian. Oop, okay. So
It's from one of the state's new documents. Yeah, Jill said she did a video on it, but it was last week.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking for that.
state's response to defendant's fourth motion to compel discovery. No. Here. I see the response to notice of defendant's supplemental response to state's alibi demand. Okay, here, I got it.
Oh, great.
There's so many documents on this case.
I know.
You know what I did yesterday? I printed, oh my God, I reprinted the alibi. And then I printed the Brian C. Koberger, all his case interest, 12 pages, you guys. There's 12 pages of documents. And it printed pretty small on each page. I'm like, oh my God, 12 pages of freaking documents. It's so crazy. I've never seen a case this big.
Well,
yeah.
and that's what I keep saying, Big Al, is it doesn't matter because it doesn't meet the alibi requirements.
Right.
Period. Sure, Al. It doesn't meet the alibi requirements. So they're expanding on it yet, unless they could have a witness to put Brian somewhere else at the time that the crimes were committed. It's not meeting the demand, or even video that proves he is elsewhere. You're not meeting the demand. Hey, Al.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, I've been in several conversations about this cast report in the last few days. Excuse me. I have a sneaking suspicion that there's too much information in this cast report. And by that, I mean, people are going to have a viable understanding about what can be seen and what can be recorded after this one comes out. I think people are going to have a very broadened definition of how well they can be tracked through their cell phone, which is why they're tiptoeing around releasing everything.
Like
I
Eric-
agree with you, because like a lot of people would say if you put your phone in airplane mode, they can't track you, but there's
Not
certain
true.
apps that can still track you.
No, if the board has power, the phone can be tracked as long as it's within range. But I really truly believe that people are, you know, we're a society of people with their heads in the sand about how well people can keep track of us through those phones. A lot of people, you know, just don't understand how vulnerable they are because of their phone. And when this one comes out, I think it says a lot. I think a lot of people are going to be very, very surprised at the level of surveillance coming through these new phones. And there's a lot of cases, a lot of terrorists, a lot of bad guys, you know, that they don't want them to know about man in the middle. They don't want them to know about, you know, how well these phones can be tracked, and you know that it's not down to 3 or 4 meters; it's down to 3 or 4 inches. You know, there's a lot of things that are going to come out with some of these cases about the new tech that they don't want people to know. They don't want the criminals to know. You know, right now they have the upper hand. Because why else wouldn't that cast report be out by now? There's no reason.
Why does it need to be out publicly?
I mean, they should at least have it. The defense and the prosecution should at least have a copy of that from the FBI by now. There's no reason. There's just no reason why it shouldn't be done. If they had time for the draft, how long ago was the draft released? A year? You mean to tell me in a year they couldn't get that done?
Mm-hmm.
And this alibi thing, like you said, Melissa, by definition, it's bullshit.
Right here. Alibi shall state the specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense, and the names and addresses of the witnesses upon whom he intends to rely and establish such alibi. That is the demand and the expectation you are supposed to meet when you're going for the alibi defense.
He doesn't have a single witness.
Can't go, and that's all that it's saying. You could still plead not guilty and have your defense, but you cannot go for an alibi if you cannot meet the demand of an alibi defense. But this, Sonia, is what they're referring to. Okay. So as to the defendant's reference to potential testimony about the location of defendant's cell phone on the morning of November 13th, this information does not rise to the level of an alibi at the time of the homicides because the defendant's cell phone stopped reporting to the cellular network before the homicides and continued to not report until after the homicides. Mm-hmm. The location of defendant's cell phone at times other than the time of the homicides is not proof of or relevant to the defendant's specific location at the time of the homicides. Approximately 4 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. on November 13th, 2022. So this is what they mean by changing of the timeline. I don't take, listen, it's approximately. Mm-hmm. It's an approximate. So are we going to get up in a bunch? I mean, people can have their feelings, but are we going to get up in a bunch about they added 5 minutes onto that. They added 10 minutes onto that.
He could have just been writing and saying, like you said, approximately 4 to 4:30 instead of saying exactly 4:20. Well, you know what I mean? Like he could have just been saying.
It's regarding the alibi, you guys. Yeah. They're not changing the time of the murders. They're saying unless you could tell us where his phone was between 4 and 4:30 approximately, we don't care. That's how I take it. I mean, what do you guys think?
I want to see someone drive the route that he claims he went on with a cell phone and pull the data from that phone. Does it never check in? Not one time? I highly doubt it. At some point.
I agree.
At some point, it's giving a fringe location or recording a fringe location or recording a tower or recording a Wi-Fi hotspot or a Bluetooth hotspot or something. I really truly think that CAS report has too much information they don't want to release to the public.
Yeah.
They don't want the public to know what they know. It'll screw up all kinds of other shit. And by their definition, probably more important cases. And I don't mean to say this isn't important. Please don't get me wrong. 4 dead kids is about as important as it gets. But, there's terrorism cases. There's, all kinds of other things that the FBI is using this cell phone technology for that they don't want people to know what their capabilities are.
You're thinking like more national security versus this. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Across the board. How many other cases will this affect if they really show their hand? What can they really do with this technology? And I think it's going to blow a lot of our minds. I truly do. I think we're way further ahead than any of us thinks.
Yeah, and considering this case is so viral, they have to be really, really careful. Even at these hearings, you can tell they're tiptoeing around everything that they're saying.
Yeah, they were definitely being quite careful in the last one for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I thought so.
Even the judge. It's like,
that poor bastard's so lost, he doesn't even know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
To hear him admit that he's too busy to deal with the case was something I've never heard in my entire life.
Right.
I was embarrassed for him.
Yeah.
So I see you. I see you here, Twiz. I'll let you up for a couple of minutes because I'm supposed to be focusing on Sonia tonight. But
Oh, it's
I'll let
I'm
okay.
gonna
You
jump
can
down.
let
I just
other
wanted to talk about
people.
the
No,
cash
you're
report
fine,
real
Al.
quick.
You're fine. You're fine.
Sharing is caring. It's okay.
I just don't want to be rude. But welcome, Twiz.
No,
Oh,
no.
hold on. I took off the overlay before I even heard your voice, which is stupid. Hello.
What's up?
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Oh, we're good. What's up?
You guys want to see some interesting things?
It's not a penis, right?
I don't think so.
I mean, as long as you're not gonna porn
You
bomb.
can see what I'm sharing, but
Oh, okay. Hold on. I didn't see that. I have to scroll down. Sure. 1 second.
are penises not allowed on YouTube? Should I write that
No,
down?
not allowed.
All right. This is a cell tower.
Okay.
On page 13 of the PCA, it says at approximately 4:48, Brian Koberger's phone reconnected to cellular services that utilize services south of Moscow, near Blaine, north of Genesee. It does not say he was there. It says he connected to the tower that covers that area. This is Washington right over here. So all he had to do is connect to this tower, and Payne didn't necessarily lie when saying that he connected to cellular services that cover that area.
That's right. Yeah.
So this map doesn't quite go out to Wowowai Park, but none of these do, and you have cell phone service the entire drive out there.
And that map is strictly approximate.
Well, I mean, it clearly
Depends on
has to
weather
carry
conditions.
on.
Well, it
It
depends
has
on
to
weather
carry on
conditions.
further.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors with the cell phone signal.
You're right. But when I did the drive, I connect back to service right here. This is the road that
cool.
most
You
people
did the
take to go
drive?
to the park. Yeah, it's on YouTube. You guys can watch it. This, as soon as you take a right down here, that starts going downhill at a pretty good rate, and you lose cell service. So after here, you have nothing. Your GPS works wonderfully, though. Here's the park. So on the way back, as soon as I cross this is a dirt road. I get cell service like right around here, and all it does is get better service the further east that you drive.
Oh, I think Jules was talking about you. Were you on Deakies?
Yeah, I'm on Dinkies quite a bit.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. Well, welcome, Twiz. Thank you
So
for
you did
sharing.
exactly what I was just talking about. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any like fancy equipment though, I just have
Well,
a cell phone and I can look at it, but
take anything fancy.
yeah.
And all what people got to remember also is every cell phone is different. Some don't have actual GPS.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Not
most
all
of the
cell
new
phones
ones
have
do, but
actual GPS.
What is your
Yeah.
channel? Your channel is just Twiz?
all my stuff is on Dinky's channel, Dinky dot or dash IMO.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a channel. I tried to go live when he wanted to go to sleep the other night, but it said I had to wait 24 hours. So
So you think? Okay.
I'm telling you right now that it's impossible unless they're lying about him going to Wowowai Park. But I don't think though that's true because they've said way too many times that he's innocent in court. But had he gone to Wowowai Park that night, it's literally impossible for him to go to Moscow and commit the crime.
Right. Yeah.
So I think he's 100% innocent.
You do?
100%. He didn't even go to Idaho that night. Didn't cross the line. Never crossed state line. 100% innocent.
Well, I guess that we'll figure it out, right, in trial. If he didn't do it, it should be pretty easy to prove, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was really funny because I was actually in the hearing on Thursday, and Ann Taylor kept on talking about cell towers. So I'm pretty sure 514 Sai is gonna, provide testimony or whatever. Whether we get to see it or not will be interesting. But yeah.
Why do you think he pinged back to the house the next morning if he wasn't guilty?
If he didn't do the crime, does it matter?
Give me just something that would make sense.
I have no idea. I mean, here's the other tower, right?
Thank you, Abalis. Okay, Michelle.
So this is the tower in Moscow that covered the 1122 King Road. I'm getting really good at finding it now, right? The house is here, right? This is the main road to get to Moscow from Pullman. So every time you drive into Moscow from Pullman, you connect to this tower. You got Walmart, the mall, Winco right here, all these businesses. I mean, he could have just gone over and got breakfast. Who knows? But that's the whole thing with the 12 pings. Well, he connected to the tower 12 times before. That means he's stalking. No, he just drove to Moscow. Every time you drive to Moscow, you connect to this tower.
Well, I guess we'll see as precise, right? Because it's not really just ping. If they pull up the actual GPS data and get a more precise location, that would be great.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. I don't know if you guys ever watch Thought Right podcast, but they brought up an article last night, and it was right after he was arrested, and he said, according to the article, that they have my GPS data. So he knows, he's a cloud forensic. He knows what his GPS is going to say. And GPS works amazing down at the park. You don't have cell service, but the GPS works.
What if he left his phone there?
Yeah.
Because that's also been a theory, not by him.
No,
Let's
I
talk
understand
about,
that. I
other
understand.
crimes where people
I know
say
exactly what you're saying, right? But there's not
Yeah.
enough time for him to commit the crime. If he was to leave his phone there and drive to Moscow and come back, for one, they're still going to say that right after the crime, he connects over this area, right?
Okay. But what
So,
about
like,
the DNA, man? Sorry, I'm just.
okay. We've been
This is where I
going
get
deep.
wrapped in this.
Yeah, we've been going deep on the DNA. DNA is all subjective. There's a lot. I'm not a specialist by any means, but they didn't even have a full sample. So I don't think the DNA is his. Even if it was DNA, it's touch DNA. So if I leave my DNA on a sheath and somebody picks up the sheath and goes kills somebody with a knife out of it, right? My DNA is on the sheath, but I didn't do it. It's touch DNA. But I have a lot of questions about that DNA too. I don't think it'll end up being his.
Interesting. Well, I guess we'll find out, guys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
One day.
I think if they knew it wasn't his DNA, these stall tactics wouldn't be happening as much as they are.
Well, I don't necessarily know that they know it was his DNA, right? They're saying that it's his DNA. They just might have,
No,
made
I'm
it
talking about
fit.
the defense. He'd be pushing to get into court faster. Why would he want to sit in jail?
The defense isn't stalling this case. That's ridiculous. Bill Thompson just asked for more time to come up with witnesses to prove Brian was at that house. If the prosecution's case was so solid, why would they be asking for more time? And they keep blaming the FBI. Well, we don't have what we need to hand over to the defense because the FBI won't give it to us. If your case is that solid, you wouldn't need it. If their case was so solid, they wouldn't have been worried about his alibi. If the defense
won't proceed without it, then they can't proceed without it.
Well, right, because I think that Ann Taylor, because of how the media has handled this whole thing, people have labeled Brian Koberger an incel, a creep, a stalker, everything. That she wants to prove him everything is wrong. Brian did nothing. That's the only chance he'll ever have in life. That's his one shot. Ann has to prove it all incorrect.
It's going to be an interesting trial, to say the least.
Yep, it certainly is.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make it to trial.
What? Yeah,
it's definitely going to go to trial.
It's definitely going to go.
Yeah, it's going to trial.
If it wasn't, I think it would have been dropped by now.
Yeah, I agree. Joel, I was going to say Joel.
Yeah,
I'm reading what Joel said.
This is my prediction. I think on the 15th, Cyray and it sounds like they have another expert coming in is going to start arguing the cell stuff. They're going to start doing motions to suppress. You'll start seeing motions to dismiss soon after.
Well, I guess
that's
we'll
my
see.
prediction. You guys know what's crazy though? I'm actually sad if it doesn't go to trial because then we don't get all of the real evidence from what happened in the house. We'll never know the wound profiles. We'll never know any of that. So it's going to be bad if it's
victims to get
dismissed.
Justice. That's what I want.
I just want the truth and the victims of justice, and it to be the right person. You don't want there to be somebody who is wrongfully convicted.
Right, especially for a death penalty case.
Yeah, like I'm not like ride hard on it being BK to it's like it's got to be him, and I can't look at the truth and the facts. I just want to.
Yeah, I want the
the
data.
families to get that.
I want the data. I want to see the data.
Yeah, I want to see all the data.
That's
I
what I
want to
wanna
see
see.
everything, obviously. I want
Yeah.
to see everything. And the way I see it is if he did not do this crime, the evidence will show that, and if he did, the evidence will show it. And we got to wait for trial and see what comes out. But I'm just not, me personally, I'm not sold yet. I'm not, oh, yeah, nope, that's definitively 100%. It's not possible. I'm just not there yet. But
Mhm.
if that's the case, it'll be shown.
Absolutely. I ain't here to convince nobody. I hope y'all
I
think
know.
he's guilty. I'm just here trying to open some minds.
No, and I appreciate. I'm not super familiar with the phone pings and any of that, and it's interesting that you went for the drive, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
We're
They're
not
fun.
dead set either way. I think we're just
Yeah.
following the facts, and
Yeah.
we're more so like we don't want to accuse other people that aren't named as
Hey,
suspects. You know.
that's actually like the craziest thing about this case too, because everybody that walked by in the grub truck was labeled a murderer. Like,
Yeah, man.
what? Like, I don't blame anybody for not wanting to talk about this case in Moscow, because everyone, like that kid who lived across the street who was trying to help them, was labeled a
Jeremy.
murderer. Like,
Yeah, Jeremy. Yeah.
it's wild. It's wild.
It is.
Yeah. Everybody was a suspect at one point.
Yeah.
It definitely will make you wake up and rethink how you approach any speculation at like when there is still kind of is that active investigation and no persons of interest have been named.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. The other thing too, like let's just say that I'm correct, Brian didn't do it right. So I'm not even necessarily saying that he was framed, because I could understand why they would think he was a suspect, not being connected to the cell towers, being connected to the cell towers like right after the crime, driving a similar car to what they're looking for. Like I could understand that, but here's like the other thing. Like I'm driving down to that park late at night alone by myself, so like I'm leaving myself susceptible to being a target too if something were to happen. What's my alibi going to be?
No idea.
You know?
That's like I mean, I get the pattern of behavior thing, but I don't know. I want to know more about the phone. Like when they say like it disconnected from the network, like what really were
Were they pings? Were they handshakes? Were they
right? Like what did that
full
really mean?
connections? Were they, the data's gonna be all of it. I think.
So here's the interesting thing, right? He works on campus, right, as a TA. This is Nevada Street at I think 244. They say they have him on camera going north on Nevada Street. At 247, he disconnects from the network, right? So there's a parking lot right here. I'm willing to bet that he walked in. Well, this is interesting. College of Education. I doubt he had anything to do with that, but I'm willing to bet that he walked into a building at 247 and lost connection, because all these buildings are brick. They're old brick buildings.
And you're not wrong. I have been in the older buildings that like have not really had the newer technology or built like, they are nowadays. And I would get no services in class ever.
Yep. Yeah, I wish I knew which building he would have walked into, because somebody told me that.
Did he go to the library or did he go to his office?
I don't know.
I'm curious.
Was he
Somebody said that he
Wi-Fi
worked
while
at
he was
Wilson
connected?
Hall, but Wilson Hall's like kind of far away.
Yeah, his office, Viviana said his office isn't anywhere near the Spark building.
Just in the last 2 years, cell over Wi-Fi has changed the cellular game dramatically.
Oh, wow.
When your Wi-Fi is on and you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, even if there isn't a cellular signal, you're still pushing calls.
Yeah, if you have Wi-Fi calling enabled.
And
that's how
relatively new.
Yeah, it is. That's how Google Maps is so accurate with your location, because they've mapped out where all of the
router,
the Wi-Fi. Yeah, they've mapped out all the Wi-Fi connections, so they can tell exactly where you are, because they're pinning you against like the neighboring Wi-Fis.
Yep.
They've mapped out the whole world through Wi-Fis. It's wild.
That's why we ended up with IPv6, because we ran out of IP addresses, because there's so many goddamn devices on the planet.
Yep.
Well,
it is wild.
It is, and I wish I was more educated in this type of stuff as far as phone pings and like what's possible. I don't know if different phone networks ping. I don't know. Do different phone networks ping to different towers?
Yes.
Sometimes they do. From what I've been told is that in places where there's only one tower, they will share.
Right.
If they'll share, they get a priority designation.
Yeah, and out here there's only one tower covering each area. So here's what we did last night. We were going kind of looking at the PCA, but this is the possible route that Payne said Brian took. All of these yellow lines don't align with an actual road. Most of this is going through wheat fields or something. There's no roads that line up with this.
I did a TikTok that had roads aligned with that.
I would say look again, especially down in this area, like these
Some of
zigzags.
them are, and some
There's
of them
nothing
aren't.
that matches up. Like this looks like I think it's 95 on that side. This kind of looks like 95, right up until here. But all this, there's nothing that matches up with it.
So you think they're just going to go to trial and they're not going to be able to depict the actual route he took?
Well, again, it says possible route at the top. They have no idea where he was and which route he took.
At the time that this was written.
Correct.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe, but
I think the dump
think he
from
will.
his phone and the dump from the network are going to be two completely different things. And it's going to come down to tech.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that GPS stuff. Because I've been saying that since I drove down to the park. I ended up having to use an old iPhone 6s to record the drive because I couldn't use GPS and record on my phone.
Which doesn't have, the iPhone 6 doesn't have a technical GPS. It uses signal.
Oh, yeah.
GPS.
Oh, yeah, it does. It uses GPS.
iPhone
so,
6?
Yeah, it doesn't have it wasn't
iPhone
connected
6
to
doesn't have a GPS chipset.
Well, then why was it telling me my location?
It was telling you off of your some sort of data.
Welcome.
From what?
I could be mistaken. I'll look it up again, but I'm pretty
sure.
sure.
This is what I'm telling you, right? So my iPhone 6s, it's old. It doesn't have a SIM card. It's not connected to the network. I turned all the location services on it, and on the videos, it's telling us my exact locations. It was telling me which WSU building I was at when I was driving through it.
iPhone 5 was a cutoff. My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good.
6 does have a GPS chipset.
Yep. And it worked perfectly at the park without cell service, so GPS gonna be crazy.
Well, I hope they're able to figure out exactly where he was. If proves him, if he didn't do the crime, I hope that it shows that. Like I hope either way, because the person who really did this needs to be held accountable.
The Apple specs for that GPS chipset, though, says that it works in conjunction with Wi-Fi networks and nearby cell phone towers and routers to calculate the phone's location.
Sure.
But it's not just GPS. I think 7 and 8 is when it went to like hardcore GPS, like an actual GPS chipset.
Yeah.
Where it's like a fucking Garmin in your hand.
Right. All I know is it was telling me where I was. At the park, It says it's Colton, Washington, and that's what the address is for the park. This is technically Colton, somehow. I don't know. But that's what it told me.
That's interesting, and thank you for sharing that, because it's much different than trying to figure it out versus you actually went there and to let us know what happened. That helps. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as soon as the alibi came out, I was like, holy crap. Like, I started looking into that a lot, and it checks out in my book. The thing is like, let's just say he did do it as a thought experiment, right? Somewhere over here, he would have connected to the network again at approximately 4:48, according to the PCA. There's no way that he would drive back to the park and get back here on 1300 Johnson Road, which is that first time he's connected to the camera or caught on camera on the way home. There's not enough time, so we would have to drive to YYY first and then go to Moscow.
Are these like 2-lane roads?
50 miles
an hour.
Yeah. Here is 50, and then.
So you're not flying 70 miles an hour down these roads, I guess is my point.
Yeah, no, not me. I drive an SUV, so I ain't trying to speed anywhere. But the roads are really smooth. I mean, you see a little bit of curves, but it's not bad at all.
Okay.
So the only way that he could go to the park and commit the crime would he have to go to the park first, right? That's about a half-hour drive, 25-minute drive. The last time they have him on camera is at 2:53 in the morning. And so that would place him here around 3:25, 3:30, right? And then you drive to Moscow to the 1122 King Road house. It's 40 miles. I don't know the exact time, but maybe it's possible that you could get there around 4 and commit the crime, right? The issue with that is they have him on camera all over Moscow starting at 3:26, according to the PCA. So he wouldn't be on those cameras.
Unless he went earlier.
It's very interesting.
I mean, if he went earlier.
When we don't
burner
have
phone.
only thing. We don't have the specifics. I want to know where his car was more.
But they have him on camera. It doesn't matter the times, right? They have him on camera here, leaving here at 2:53. They have him on camera here at 5:25. You have to make it fit in with the timeline somehow.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they're gonna have to fucking do. And if they're not able to, they're screwed.
Yep. I mean, screwed or like Brian just didn't do it.
Well, they're screwed as in they'll be able to poke enough holes and not be able to prove he did it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I think will happen.
Hi, Vanessa. But all right,
there's a reason why Bill Thompson doesn't want Cy to provide testimony. There's a reason why he said no. Brian needs to do it himself. You can't use the technology that I used to say he did the crime to say that he didn't do the crime. There's a reason for that. And it's not because the defense is lying.
I don't take it necessarily that way at all.
There are some people in the chat that do though, and I'm talking to them, you know.
Well, everyone's allowed their opinions, the same way you're allowed yours.
Absolutely.
But I've been on 2 hours. I'm gonna have to hop off now because I have to be up early. But I appreciate you guys coming on very much, and I appreciate you being willing to come on Twiz and show the maps and the towers, because that's interesting and I didn't realize that, and it's nice to know that you took the drive and what it's like. So thank you for that, and thank you, Al, of
Absolutely.
That's very interesting to know
that's
that
great
map is that
info.
far
I'll
off.
be around if you guys have questions. Everybody can find me.
I'll definitely, if I do, I'll reach out to Jules because she told me about you, but I didn't realize it was you when you were hopping up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep. You guys have a great night, though.
Yes, you too.
Sorry I stole the show, Sonia.
No, you're fine.
Oh God, no, you're good. You're good.
You're good.
No worries.
I'll see you guys later.
You too. But you guys, Sonia is going to be going live for the first time in hopefully the next week. Nightbot has been dropping her link throughout, and her link is in the description. Please go over, subscribe to her. She has how many videos on Idaho?
Like on my hard drive, just TikToks, like 2,242. And I might not have them all in there, but I'm sure there's more.
When I click her link, the monkey says that it's not available.
What?
Pardon?
My link?
When I click subscribe to Sonia D, I get a picture of a monkey that says this page isn't available. Sorry about that. Try searching for something else.
When you click it in my chat, does it bring it to her channel though?
In your description.
Oh, hold on. All right, try the Nightbot in the chat.
I'll try it on my end too, just make sure. But even still, you can just type Sonia D. You'll find me.
Well, that's work.
Metamom says it works. So maybe it's just the one in the description.
Yeah, the Nightbot works one. The one. Yeah,
okay.
It works.
I'll fix that right now.
Where's
Sometimes if you do it as like a tag, it won't work. But I don't know why, because it should if it's a freaking tag. But I'm really excited to see, and I think it would be awesome to go back over all of those videos, go back in a timeline format, see things that stand out that may not have realized when it happened, because now we have more information. And I'm really excited. And thank you so much, Sonia, for coming on. And I very much look forward to going on your panel too.
Yes, you will. Absolutely.
I just subbed, so I'll be there raising hell.
Thanks.
We love you, Al.
I love you too.
It's nice meeting you.
It was nice to meet you.
Al's awesome.
Ladies, have a great night.
You as well. So yeah, definitely. So I want to thank you, Melissa, for having me on. I really enjoyed it. And your crew, your mods, everybody are so kind. The people, your guests, your members, they're also really nice. I just watched them all night, all their nice comments. I didn't see no drama, so that's great. Love that.
This topic always brings out like controversy. respectfully,
there's a
but
lot.
like people, it's definitely one of the most controversial topics or cases that I've covered where people adamantly stand on one side or the other. But I enjoy that. I do enjoy that. It could get
Me
heated
too.
sometimes, but I do enjoy having the back and forth. And so you guys are all amazing. And I very much look forward to seeing what you're going to do on your channel. And I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys all soon. Hopefully we can get together again soon.
Yes, definitely. And I fixed it in the description.
Oh, no worries.
So it should, I am not doing the tag, so hit save. So it should work perfectly fine now. So thank you everyone so much, and thank you, Sonia.
You're welcome. I hope you have sweet dreams. Good night, everybody. And good night, Shay and Big Al, everybody. See you soon.
Good night. Yes,
Good night.
Mitagi, I could drop her link again. It is right here. And please make sure you guys go over, subscribe, set your notifications to all. When she does her first live stream, I will let you guys know in case you don't get notified, and we will go all over there and we will show her support. So thank you all so much. Thank you to my mods. Have a wonderful night. Tomorrow I'll be on earlier at 6:30 Eastern for the Letitia calls, but then we will be on Malicious Intents for part 1 of the disappearance of Maura Murray, and then we will be doing part 2 on my channel on Thursday. So I look forward to it all. Have an amazing night. Thank you to everyone who came up on panel, and I will talk to you all soon.